Los Angeles, I'm and most Hollywood nights. She goes to California, oh, California.
What you say about Los Angeles?
LA got the people saying,
You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy, the show that talks 100% LA Galaxy soccer. We're glad you could join us. Now it's time to sit back and relax as your hosts navigate through the twisting, turning, but never boring world of your six-time MLS Cup champion, LA Galaxy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. I'm your host, Josh Guesman, coming to you on a Thursday, April 24th. The LA Galaxy getting ready to take on the Portland Timbers on Sunday evening, a game where, of course, they must win, right? It must be a must-win. We're at that point. The backs are up against the wall. Everything has to happen for the Galaxy. We'll talk about how badly the LA Galaxy need this particular win and a whole bunch of other LA Galaxy news, including Mr. Ricky Puig back at training. Mr. Ricky Puig, what are you doing? So we got a lot to talk about, a lot to get to. In order to help me do all that, we're glad to have him back. It's Eric, the Portuguese Hammer Vieira. Eric, how's it going, bud?
It's going great. I'm already heated in the chat. We're already doing tons of work here. So again, the Galaxy on the downtrend. We can't get much worse. So how are we going to make ourselves happy with the chat in there lively before second number one, before we start getting into the Galaxy news? Tim hit us with the opening question here. Not for a super chat, but still worth mentioning.
Right.
1:30 a.m. Do you go Jack in the Box or do you go Taco Bell?
I'm always going to be a Taco Bell guy. Now, okay. I also would like to point out that in college, it was neither of those, and it was Philly Bees. Filiberto's, at anything after midnight, it was Filiberto's, right?
And I'll add any Bertos, you're safe.
Yes, yeah. It's 100%. Alberto's, Philly Bees. What is it? There's Alberto's. There's
Filiberto's. Albertitos.
Yes.
You've got them all.
Okay, good. Yeah, but they're delicious. It wasn't good until after midnight. That was what my whole sort of thing was. You know,
that's what I'm saying.
Fine any other time, but good after midnight. You know.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's why I'd go if those are my two options.
Okay.
I think a Jack in the Box taco after midnight, not good any other time of day, but after midnight, a Jack in the Box taco. That'll get you there. But the undisputed one, under the radar, Del Taco, chili cheese fries, crinkle cut, at 1 a.m., that's the underdog champ right there. Yeah.
I would like to say if I'm going to Jack in the Box, I probably wouldn't get the taco, but I would go mini tacos. Because those mini tacos is, I don't know, it's like little taquitos that, that's white people food. Please. Yeah. This is white people Mexican food. It's not like good Mexican. This is not.
I think the Jack in the we're off the rails already.
Yeah.
The Jack in the Box taco technically isn't even a taco. It's its own food group. It's its own.
It's like a sandwich.
Like when you categorize, shapes. Like this is a quadrilateral. Right. This is the Jack in the Box taco is in a separate column than all other tacos. It's its own category. So again, but we digress. The LA Galaxy, They're going to win eventually, right?
I don't know.
They got to.
What podcast are we even doing? I feel like this is like Groundhog Day, It's it's cold out there, the whole deal. It's just it's Bill Murray waking up every morning to the same radio message over. LA Galaxy fans waking up to the same. Have the LA Galaxy does anybody have the social media account that is have the LA Galaxy won yet? Because I just no.
There you go.
No, 9 times no. It's crazy. People are looking at how the transfer window's closed, right? And we didn't expect the LA Galaxy to be in on any transfer window, so it wasn't really worth talking all that much about. I will tell you if and I know this because I've had discussions, if the LA Galaxy thought that they could add somebody that would, one, be good for them now and be good for them longer term and sort of was was club friendly terms in terms of what they were trying to put together, they could have done something, right? And the whole idea here is that that the LA Galaxy are probably pretty good in 2026 in terms of cap space and everything else that is coming. And so you could sort of borrow from that cap space to be able to do something this year. And I still think that possibly in the summertime that could happen. But if you're the LA Galaxy right now, why would you make like a giant move right now? It's sort of like, no, we'll wait because let's see what's available during the summer, because summer's a bigger transfer window anyway, and it's not going to get any worse, right? So like it can't.
Knock on wood.
It can't. They just what are they going to do? Like lose?
Go to 31st place? Yeah, you're fair there. Yeah,
you're already bottom. You're already there. You're already scraping. And by the way, from a team that is not bottom of the table, bad, but it for whatever reason, again, Sasha Glushin told you. What does the standings say? That you kind of at some point you just got to point to the standings and say that's who we are, right? If you're the LA Galaxy, you look down, you go down to the bottom. It's like that's who we are. Maybe that's a speech for Greg Vanney. Maybe he comes in, he blows up, he gets somebody to blow. Can I be part of Greg Vanney's like social, not social media, but like media team where like he comes in, he goes, okay, today I need a chart of the standings and I want you to circle 15 like a red. Got it, Greg. So you blow it up.
We're gonna get a rifle, and we're gonna go, and just tear that thing to shreds. I like where we're going with this.
Or we need a full size cutout of Cosmo, and we're gonna slowly pull pieces of fur off of him as we
the
go.
Old Major League. It feels like it's a inverse LA Galaxy to last season, and that's almost too obvious to say. But when you think about the transfer window, we knew with no GAM that probably nothing was going to come down the line. And to your point, are you going to leverage next season? Last season, we saw that they, as they were going to the stretch, it's like, okay, we have the opportunity to go all in. And it's crazy to say a third of the way through the season, but now without a win in 9 games, why would you go all in and make moves that are going to put you at a disadvantage for next season? So it's almost like, you know what? It's in a bad situation right now where hopefully the players will turn around, but let's not waste any more money. And let's not waste any more space. Let's not get any contracts that are going to mess us up in the long term. And let's just kind of wait things out and ride it out. And hopefully they'll figure something out to maybe make a late run. But right now it looks like they're not interested in leveraging their future to make them better in 2025, because it looks like they kind of it is what it is right now. This team, and I'm thinking back to that Austin game where Diego Fagundez has talked about it, John McCarthy's talked about it, where they've made those mistakes, and it just seems like this team has lost their mojo. I think of the Austin Powers. I've lost my mojo, and it's kind of difficult to describe it for our younger listeners. Basically, they have no aura left. I think that's the term they're using now, because we're saying on paper this team isn't bad, but they just don't have that extra little thing that puts them in the win column. And I think Ricky obviously brings a lot, but Paintsil was that guy last year. Peck was that guy last year, and for whatever reason, they've kind of lost, whatever magic that they had. And so, to me, this team, we look at it and we don't feel like it's a 30th place team. But then when you watch them, you also see, but they're missing something. Something is missing. We can say that they keep games close, but it also, you could tell that there's something missing. It's not clicking for whatever reason, whether it's causing the mistakes. We can go back to the midfield and have, like you said, replay these episodes over and over again. But it just seems like they lost that magic, and it's unfortunate to see.
Look at just Gabriel Peck and what he was able to do against Austin. I mean, realistically had 3-4 really solid chances. You look at him and, this year, instead of the ball going in the net, it goes off the post, right? Like it's one of those. And by the way, the LA Galaxy hit so many posts last year too, right? Like, the whole deal. But we can go again. Here's my argument, and I'll continue down this argument. The LA Galaxy in 9 games has scored 6 goals. They're on pace right now to score 22.7 goals. That's 16,
that's half a Zlatan season,
69
right?
goals is what they scored. Like, you can look at the difference, and let's compare it, right? Look at the 50 goals they allowed versus the 60 that they're predicted to give up. The defense isn't playing that much worse, right? Like, you're looking at the difference between 50 and 60, nothing. Look at the offense, because you're talking about 70, half of 70 would be 35, right? And the LA Galaxy right now are going to be 10 to 12 goals short of half of
Yeah.
the amount of goals they scored last year. So
not even close.
So if you want to know, and I said this on Monday in my unconscious stream of consciousness that I was in as a solo show there. If you want to know my problem is the offense. My problem is the offense. My problem is they're not scoring goals. Go watch Gabriel Peck go have 2 or 3 really good looks and not put one of those in the back of the net. Greg Vanny talked about it. Joseph Paintsil has had some looks now where you're like, normally he gets those. These guys are getting caught whenever they're being run, like the whole deal. It just seems like they're half a step slow, and for whatever reason, they're unable to convert the chances they have, because the chances against Austin were absolutely there. And you see the goal that Austin scores, and you want to sit there and bang your head against the post. Now, clearly the penalty kick. After the safe penalty, but like the penalty kick, you're like, wow, that's, they should have had a goal in there, the whole deal. But I look at this team and I'm like, it's not a defensive problem for me. And they could be better. They need to not shoot themselves in the foot. Yes, you need to stop giving up the first goal. In 8 of 9 games, they have allowed the first goal. This is the Galaxy have led once this entire season, and it was against Orlando in a game they lost, right? So, which, by the way, they've lost most of their games and drawn some, right?
Yeah, safe to say that with most games.
But they have not, 100% have not been effective offensively. And the Galaxy have to figure that out, because if they can start scoring goals, then this team is going to be okay. They have not. They have not scored goals. This team is a top 5, top 6 team in the Western Conference if they can score goals. I am hopeful that with all the time that they've had, that there's a fluidity that we're going to see on Sunday that shows that, the goals, it was just a matter of getting everybody together and figuring it out. But I don't know that I've been more disappointed, and I said this on Monday, and I don't know how you feel, but I don't know that I've been more disappointed in mental decisions at the ends of games than I was in this. I get it. The 2 teams don't like each other, but when you're losing and you're frustrated and everything's going on, the last thing you need to do is like start a fight, right?
Yeah. I'm of 2 minds here, because one of it is, if you're not winning, then at least show you care. At least go punch someone, go fight someone. So part of me kind of understands that to a degree, but it's also time and place. When you haven't won a game in 9 tries, this is not the time to thump your chest. And I love that Paintsil was pointing to the badge and the 6 stars and all that, but we're winless in 9. This is not that I don't know that we have much to be proud of. I understand the fight, but I don't know that was the time and place. I think it is a frustration. It's a frustration point when they obviously want to go out there and get some results, and it's not happening. So when you're frustrated on top of that, on top of the anger, then those things kind of build on each other. But I'm with you that if you're going to flash the 6, you've won 6 championships, you're the better team, then you do have to act like you've been there a little bit. And so part of that is Austin has the chip on their shoulder because they feel like, for whatever reason, that crazy tackle on Ricky Puig, they thought it was not as crazy as they thought, and so they're holding that against them. Again, I don't know where the righteousness comes from Austin, but what would kill them even more than getting in their faces, say, what are you guys talking about? That was 2 seasons ago. We don't even care about that. We've won. We're shining the MLS Cup. Like, why are you guys mad? We're not even thinking about you. And I think that's kind of the level where we're going. I'm going to push back a little bit. If you want to pull up your chart with the goals for and then goals against, you're saying it's not a defensive problem. It's a little bit of a defensive problem. The defense is, if you go by goals against, it's a little bit worse. So I understand what you're saying, but I think it's when you're having the goal production a third of what it was last season, it's easy to point to that and say, well, the offense needs to contribute more goals. But the defense, I don't think you could let them off the hook either. I think the mistakes they've had too many mistakes to say, well, it's not a defensive issue. I think the offense is struggling and the defense is struggling. And I think when you have, that's how you end up in 30th place, is when you have an offense struggling and a defense that's making mistakes.
Yeah, they're scoring a third of the goals right now. They're on pace to score less than, it was like 0.33. I did 23 divided by 69, right? Mm-hmm. So 0.33. So a third of that, right? That's what they're doing. And then if you look at the and they're like 17% worse on defense, right? So they're 66% 20% worse on offense and 17% worse on defense. That shouldn't be.
They're worse both ways.
Yeah, they are. You're right. That's how you get to 30th place.
Yeah.
100%. They were rating the LA Galaxy's transfer window. That includes Christian Ramirez because it was at the beginning of the year and everything that the LA Galaxy do. So Matt Doyle, always one to keep the funny going whenever it is. The LA Galaxy get a D for their transfer window. But he also put under, did you win MLS Cup? Yes.
Yeah.
What did it cost?
Okay.
Everything. And then
it cost us $20.25.
Yeah. And what did he say? He goes, worth it. Right?
Yeah.
You know, he goes, best move, Christian Ramirez will score 8 to 14 goals across all competitions every year for the next 3 seasons and will still be relevant when the Galaxy are finally good again. And he says, which will be, I think, next season. Right?
Yeah.
So,
and that was one of the points I thought you made the best on your solo show was if you would have asked us last season, you have to trade in wooden spoon 30th place, but you guarantee MLS Cup. We would have pushed it all in to the middle of the table. We all would have made that deal. So I think life doesn't always work that way, but I think you have to give yourself that perspective sometimes.
But I mean, we are getting, and even I am one who realizes the reality of this situation as well, that Greg Vanney can't go 0-34 and somehow like
and
keep
walk
his
out
job.
of here.
Yeah. And Greg knows that, right? But I also think that there's more patience in that, understanding sort of that, the first 5-6 games of this were pretty much like, you don't got anybody. Like, there's not a lot. And we brought in a whole bunch of new people that have to figure it out. Like, there's going to be some growing pains in this, and I get it. But I think Aaron, who's one of our longtime listeners, different Aaron, by the way, than Aaron, who's usually in the chat
Not
room.
irregardless Aaron.
Yeah, not irregardless Aaron, but another one of our Aaron's. We're big with Aaron's.
We're top 5 in Aaron's,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I think.
We're definitely not bottom 30.
Number one, Carson, greater area with Aaron's. And he was saying, you look at Greg Vanney, who's won MLS Cups now, and won one with the Galaxy, won one with Toronto, went to another MLS Cup with Toronto. You have, Will Kuntz, who's won MLS Cups, in a front office role now with the LA Galaxy as well, and doing all this stuff. He goes, it would sure make you feel better short term if you fired somebody, right? Like it would. He goes, but like, what does that do for you long term? Like long term, it sets you back maybe another year, 2, 3 years. And I still think that the LA Galaxy are eyeing next year as a year that they really want to put the pedal to the metal and go. And by the way, I'm not discounting this year. I still think there's a run in this team. Whether that's 2023 in me, that I was like, in 2023, I was sort of like, this isn't a bad team. They've been demolished by injuries. I'm waiting for it to all click. And for about 3 games there, it really clicked. And then people got hurt again and everything. And it was like, no, okay, it's just not going to happen. False start on that one.
Yeah, the saddest part about that is the Galaxy qualified for CCL or CCC, excuse me,
Yeah,
and all these competitions, and then this year's the team that's not cut out to get it done. You would hope that they're able to somehow get a berth, so when they are good and MLS Cup contenders, that they're also going deep in a CONCACAF Champions Cup and competing for MLS Cup. You don't want to offset seasons. Okay, this year we're going to compete for MLS. The next season we're going to compete for the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and so you want to have that consistency across the board. And so that's the part that hurts, is the drop off that we've had.
It certainly feels like it is. It's a very sharp drop off. By the way, enjoy the sweet melancholy that is this year, so that way you can enjoy the highs of the highs whenever it comes back. Right? What did I tell you all? Somebody just reminded me. They said you reminded us all last year to enjoy where you're at, to enjoy the season, enjoy everything that's going on because it comes by. And I'm like, this is the flip side of this. You have to enjoy the melancholy. You have to enjoy the sadness. You have to enjoy the losses. You have to enjoy you have to find peace at the low points. And that's hard to do, right? That's hard to find like the good moments in the low points. Because I think MLS is made with these peaks and valleys. I really do. And so you're not going to be good all the time. That being said, you can absolutely put a team together that will compete for multiple MLS Cups. The Galaxy were just at the end of that cycle. And if you go back and you didn't realize it, at least I certainly didn't realize it. But again, I've argued this forever, and it's probably, we're beating a dead horse at this point. 2023 to me was the year that they should have been sort of in that MLS Cup contenders, and you would have been like, and had they have been able to put that together, and again, I think there were some poor decisions in the upper levels to sort of start that season, so they've already started it in a bad spot, and they really compounded it with the extra pressure and everything else that was put on the players. But if you are competing that year, which I think that team was good enough because there were a lot of the same players came back the next year, right? It was that.
And it's a logical progression.
And then it's a logical progression. You're like, that makes sense. And then you would have had 2 back-to-back years where you're sort of competing for an MLS Cup. By the way, I don't know that 2023, even if everybody stayed healthy, would have been good enough to win an MLS Cup, but they should have been contenders for that. They weren't. They never were. It never got off the ground, did not fly, did not take off. But then you saw 2024 and you were like, oh, okay. This is the logical progression of that if 2023 would have been it. So I think that the Galaxy were set up in sort of a short-term window when, 23, 24 was probably the window. And now that window's gone. And then where's the next window, right? And so you want to see them, I would hope, grow into this 2025 season and really establish themselves as a good team that just didn't start well this year. Because as of right now, I don't know they're making the playoffs, which is crazy to think. But
they may have dug themselves too deep of a hole. And here I am letting you give me hope again, talking me into it. Because when I'm thinking about the players who departed, your Dejan Jovaliches, your Gaston Brugmans, your Mark Delgados, those are players who were there for the 2022, 2023, those lulls where, the Galaxy did not look great. So when they departed, he said, man, we were just finally getting it humming. But those players had been here a while. It was the end of their contracts. And that's why they were, looking to move elsewhere. So it does give me the hope that we've seen Jovic in a slumping LA Galaxy kind of figure things out. Are we going to see Nascimento figure it out? I'm going to be honest with you. I have not liked what I've seen from him. I haven't seen anything. So I don't even see the promise, the glimmer of something that's going to be good. You hope maybe it will show itself, but man, I am selling all of my Nascimento stock for right now because it does not look good. But hopefully this is something that they grow and they get through and they figure it out, because this is the beginning of the next window, to your point.
Bear market on Nascimento right now. Yeah. Run away.
Buy the dip, I hear.
Yeah, that's get it. Well, I'll say this. There was a lot of frustration whenever Dejan Jovalic came in as well, because whenever he got put into sort of the starting role, there was always he's not a starter, bring him off the bench and blah, 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 all this other stuff. You got to give guys chances here. Like I saw somebody on social media go, why haven't they given Nascimento a start yet? I'm like, have you seen anything? Have you indicated where is that? And by the way, I think it's unfair to even be like, to be making fun of that. I'm sort of like, wait, I'm just waiting. And I think that's sort of the whole idea. The Galaxy are renting him right now, right? So you're sort of, maybe you kick the tires and throw the fish back. You're like, no, this one doesn't quite measure up.
I think I got a lemon,
Catch and release, right? So I like how we did 2 different metaphors at the same time. You had one, I had one.
Hey, this is why you come to Corner of the Galaxy. Mixed metaphors, Austin Powers references, Major League. This is why we're here.
100%. Lasso's Optimism, $10 super chat. Evening, gents. Don't think we're to the point where we're only fighting for pride, but certainly for the shirt. Getting closer every game. Hang in there, geez. Yeah, see? Trying to talk us off the ledge. That's what that is.
Well, and we did see it. I think we saw that at the end of the Austin game. You didn't like it. I understand. We want to see them better, but they're fighting. Not figuratively, but literally. And so at least that's there. They care.
The only reason that you're okay with it, and the only reason anybody's okay with it right now, is because the disciplinary committee put out a report that did not suspend anybody. Because if you had been waiting for Joseph Paintsil to come back this entire time, and then he goes and gets in a fisticuff, a brouhaha, some shenanigans at the end of it, you go put him into that, and he gets suspended for 2 games? Tell me you're okay with it then. No, it was a bad decision. Just because the outcome went the LA Galaxy's way. He got fined. I can even give you the disciplinary committee. They basically said the MLS disciplinary committee has issued official warnings to Austin FC and Austin FC head coach Nico Estevez, as well as LA Galaxy and LA Galaxy head coach Greg Vanney for violating the league's mass confrontation policy in their match on April 19th. The MLS disciplinary committee has issued fines to Austin FC defender Biro, Pereira, Diego Rubio, as well as LA Galaxy defender Zavaleta, Paintsil, and Nascimento. That's the first thing Nascimento's ever been on the scorecard for.
He made the list.
For inciting and or escalating that mass confrontation, okay?
And you mentioned Biro there in it, and I think there's a reason Paintsil wasn't suspended as well. It's not like Paintsil went out there headhunting, looking for him. That is the player who has instigated all of these instances, and it all goes back to that player. So I think that's why you didn't see Paintsil get suspended, is because the Galaxy were not inciting the situation. Did they escalate it and make it worse? Absolutely. But they're not the cause, the root cause of the issue. I think it all goes back to Bureau, and so that's probably why they made the decision not to suspend him.
So that's the Galaxy got. This might be the first lucky break the Galaxy have had all season, is that Joseph Paintsil will be available to play against Portland. Alex, by the way, $5 super chat. No, this is not my burner account, as far as you know. Call me crazy. We're not playing bad, but mistakes kill us. Well, first of all, let's be very clear. Mistakes kill every team, right? That's how this works. You make
this
mistakes.
team more than others, yeah.
Yeah, well, of course. And they're having to play perfect right now, right? And perfection is not a great way to go.
If that's the only way, then that's not good.
Yeah, you have to be able to give yourself a cushion, and so the Galaxy need to score goals that way they have a little bit of a cushion to be able to make mistakes, because I still feel like they're going to be doing that. So one of the things I wanted to touch on from Monday is we talked about Julio Tranquilo Davila, and I actually got to talk to Tranquilito a little bit, and it seems like they will be honoring his dad before the game. I heard that the referees are going to be wearing armbands. I think all the referees. We told you about the story we got from Corey Rockwell on Monday's show as well. So that's there. But the good news is, there'll be a little nod to Tranquilo himself out there. Maybe a little Tranquilo, a little Tranquilo. Yeah. So
sticking to the brand, and I just want to give a shout out to him as well. I know I wasn't on that show when the news came out, but he's one of these. You have the picture up right now. If you saw him, you saw this man on the field, and it was one of those where I always, going back years, decades even, I'd say, who is this mustached man who's there carrying the ball out? Like, who's this international man of mystery?
Right.
And then as it came out, you kind of learned who he was, and so forever intertwined with the Galaxy history, because he was always there at the stadium with the ball, interacting with the referees. And then you hear, obviously, people who were closer to the club and closer to him share the stories. And it just seemed like he was a cool guy who had his brand and just always, that had his catchphrase with Tranquilo. And it just seemed like, man, the impact that he had and what he meant to the club. So I love to hear that they're going to be able to give him a fitting tribute to make his family proud. Not that he wasn't already making his family proud, but I just love that the Galaxy are making sure that he gets, he gets his flowers properly.
Yeah, Tranquilito, by the way, in the chat room, by the way. So sorry for your dad's loss there. I know we talked a little bit, but I got to interact with him anytime I was whenever we had the pool reporter questions. He would usually be the one who would bring the stuff out to me, so I got to talk to him, once or twice, just briefly, that type of thing. But again, the mustache was I don't
unmistakable. Yeah,
I do not mean this as with zero disrespect, but I wish they would give out thick mustaches for everyone to wear, because that is that's so on brand for what he was.
When you mentioned the armbands, I was like, if the armbands had a mustache, that would be just perfection. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
It would be perfect. But no. So look for that before the game. Something to sort of watch there. One of the things that we had going on, I did not expect to see this, and I don't think it's anything major that we should pay attention to, but the LA Galaxy tweeting out the process, basically, right? El proceso.
There it is,
right?
World
there it is.
Process, yeah.
The process, and Mr. Ricky Puig in LA, out on the training field, not training, just doing his recovery stuff, in there riding the bike, standing next to Greg and talk. Those two look like two peas in a pod. I'm sure they missed each other, but standing there watching training and doing that stuff. So Mr. Ricky Puig back out near the field again. I don't know if he's going to stay in LA for this from here on out and sort of redo stuff. I will say, watching him do stuff, it feels like he's getting stronger, and you can certainly see that there's he looks like the legs are starting to be the same size again, all the things that you sort of want to see before he comes back. I will tell you this, the LA Galaxy are not going to rush back Ricky Puig, not with 9 winless and 9 and everything else that is going back. Right. So I think somebody said that on one of the Spanish broadcasts, they thought maybe he would be back in June. And to me, that seems early, right? June, July, August. We've been thinking August. Yeah. We think August, September, October. That's where I'm sort of at, and I will watch. But I'll tell you, seeing him there, seeing pictures of him, knowing that he's been in and around the team, if you see him sitting on the sidelines, he can barely keep himself in a seat for games and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe this is what they need. Maybe just the presence of Ricky. And I know he's been at games, but maybe getting him closer to the field. This is the mojo that they need, the aura that he brings with him. And so maybe this is the little injection that they need. We're projecting August, but they're saying June. So maybe you meet in the middle. Maybe it's a July, late July move when he gets it. I was actually having a conversation with Herb. I know Herb's not in the chat right now, but it was like, is there a point where if the Galaxy dig themselves in too deep a hole that you just shut down Ricky for the year and don't even risk it going any further? And I kind of go the other direction.
Right.
While you don't want to rush him back, you don't want him getting his first minutes in 2026. You do want to get him some live minutes, get to health. Even if the Galaxy's season is quote unquote lost, you want him to start to get into shape, to playing well. That way he can have a proper offseason and kind of gear up and ramp up in the right way, as opposed to starting fresh off an injury, starting from scratch. So I'm of the thought that regardless of, where the Galaxy are at, you still, when he's healthy, he needs to be out there getting the minutes. If this team is going to be a team for the future, getting the chemistry with, Ramirez, with Nascimento, with the other, pieces of the midfield, I think you need to have him out there.
Yeah, I'll say this as well. He needs to mentally be back out there, right? Just because he needs to be able to trust
his own health,
trust his leg, trust his ability to move. He needs to be able to get tackled and come back up, right? Like, it's like all these things need to happen. Like you need to get through these little mental hurdles that are also physical, right? That you can sit there and say, I am the same player, or I am, this player. I can do this. I can play without getting hurt. I don't have to worry about the injury. I don't have to worry, because there's going to be, thoughts about whether or not he's going to be the same.
There's going to be a bump. It's going to take a twist. He's going to get knocked over. And so you don't want to have that anxiety constantly. You want him, to go through those and to push through it. Yeah.
So I think it's a good sign. Again, I think it's a good sign that he's back. I think he's a good sign. I don't know that he'll stay. And I've been trying to find out sort of what the long term for Ricky is, whether he's now here in LA and he's just going to work his way all the way till he's ready to go, or if he'll go back to Spain, do some more stuff, and then come back in a month or so and sort of be more ready to come back. But it was surprising, I think, to see him here and quote unquote training, and that the Galaxy put pictures of it. Yeah, the whole deal. So I don't think you should expect he's available for Sunday. I think that's probably a stretch, but.
That's a safe bet. Yeah, guaranteed to be right on that one.
Yeah, 100%. The Galaxy will have press availability tomorrow on Friday. I won't be able to make it, but if I was, that was going to be one of my questions, Greg. So we saw Ricky in pictures available for Sunday.
Is he back?
Yeah, is this happening? Back? Always good to check in on those things with Greg. But we should hear that. The Galaxy actually were off today. They did not train today. They did not do anything. It was sort of because the game's on Sunday, they had an extra day sort of sitting in here. So I think that they were off on Sunday, and then they trained Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, off Thursday. They'll be back training Friday, tomorrow, and then they will they'll do a walkthrough on Saturday and then be ready for the game on Sunday. Yeah,
that just clicked into focus for me.
Yep, 100%. That's why we didn't have, I like Saturday games, because then match day -2 is on Thursdays, and then we get to hear what everybody says, and so we can talk about that. But instead, it'll just be tomorrow, and then I'm sure lots of news will break, and then it'll be Ricky Puig available, the whole deal. Yeah. So no, that's not happening. So that's something to sort of watch there. We're at the point now, Eric, where it feels like things need to click, right? Something needs to happen. And I was joking around on Monday that it's almost like the Galaxy, at this point, the Galaxy aren't even going to win a game outright. Something goofy's going to happen and they're going to win it. And it'll be something stupid like that. It won't even be the satisfaction of a job well done. You've gone, if we're doing Josh's roulette theory, which of course he loves to say, it's been coming up red now for 9 straight games. Black is coming, and it may just be because the ball almost pops off the table and rolls into black. But the Galaxy need to get back into that win column. I don't think they care how it happens at this point. But I think if you're looking at going against Portland, you're looking at a team like the Portland Timbers, I think it would come as a good time for the Galaxy to get the win. I really think this would tip things off, but I thought that about so many other games before.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
St. Louis, Houston,
right.
Take your pick of the games where we thought it was
Orlando. I really thought Orlando was the one, right? And I think it's always a lot to ask for them to go on the road and get that win. So
Austin was a tall order.
Yes, this is the one. And by the way, they played right with Austin there. There was it almost didn't matter that you were on the road, but at the end it did, didn't it? Right? Like it was one of those things. It's just a little bit of tipping that sort of happens, and it's tipped the walls. But something has to happen here, and you need somebody to step up. And we were sort of trying to talk about it, I think, on last Thursday's show with Sophie. It's like, is Diego Fagundez sort of going to be that guy? And you were hoping against Austin that it could have been. Marco Reus now is back in the fold and playing. So
we thought he died. Yeah. So he's alive and good to go there. So yeah, that was a good sign to see him kind of traveling with the team and in the mix. I'm going to go a slightly different direction because I feel like every bit of optimism has kind of left my body when it comes to expectations for this team. I know you believe in the roulette theory and that eventually it's going to hit, but I feel like when this team is on the historic run in the wrong direction like they are right now, sometimes you need it to get really bad, because I think keeping games close and not getting blown out, it's almost like, okay, they're doing just enough. Hey, we're competing. We're in these games. We're not totally out of it. We make these, boneheaded mistakes, but we're only losing by one goal. If the ball hits the post and, we get a point out of this game, we don't get a deflection, then we're able to win this game outright. And so you kind of trick yourself into thinking this team is good. So maybe this team doesn't need to lose any more close games. Maybe they need to get punched in the mouth. Maybe it's getting embarrassed,
right.
really bad. And that's the thing that they need that kind of snaps them into focus. Oh, wait a minute, we're not cruising by. Something went sideways, and we need that little reality check to get there. You hope that it doesn't come to that, but maybe that's what they need. This keeping it close and these kind of little moral victories. After 9 games, it's not cute anymore. And so maybe you do need the punch in the mouth, the drag out, have it all just crash and burn in order to kind of rebuild from the ashes there. I don't know. That's just where my brain is going.
Right.
And, I hope I'm wrong, but it just feels like maybe that's the next level that they need to go. It's not eventually it's going to turn. Eventually it's going to go really, really bad. And then you have to turn around after that because, again, can't get lower than 30th place. But that goal differential can really get a lot worse too. So I don't know. Maybe, and I'm just talking crazy, but this is where after 9 games winless, this is kind of where your mind goes as a fan.
Aaron goes, wait, it's not really bad now? I'm already embarrassed. I do sort of agree that I know what you're saying, because we've certainly been able to defend the Galaxy and say they haven't gotten blown out. And the players have said that as well. We haven't gotten blown out. Like we're in all these games. It's just, we keep coming up on the other one. I think John McCarthy was saying, it's a game of inches right now, and all the inches are going the other way, right? And you sort of want to be that. You sort of want to be, we're on this teeter-totter. It really could go any other way. And that makes you feel better as a fan. But maybe you need to get, slapped across the face with a fish, and you're sort of like, oh, okay, yeah, it's
Is that a catch and release? Are we back to that?
I don't know.
Does that play?
I don't know. I was sort of going like Seattle Sounders and like, Pike Place Market
Portland,
and Pacific Northwest. They're close enough, right? Those two.
Yeah, you get hit by a bird strike. Maybe that's the Portland, connection there. I don't know. Isn't Portland put a bird on it? Isn't that a Portlandia thing?
What's the drive between Portland and Seattle? Isn't it like 3 hours or something like that? Like it's like us driving to Santa Barbara in traffic. Like it's
Sounds
not.
Right.
They're basically the same cities.
I'm sure they'll love hearing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
that and the CONCACAF Champions Cup is not important.
It's not. Get
everyone upset at
that's
it.
That's right. The whole deal. I haven't even looked to see if Messi and co up in Vancouver. Eric and I were talking beforehand, by the way, and I was saying, this isn't even an MLS matchup. Right, because Vancouver.
That's the crazy thing. Yeah, go ahead and explain that.
Yeah, Vancouver's playing CONCACAF Champions Cup against Miami right now. They're up in Vancouver. There's 50,000+ people there. They're booing Messi. It's great. Like good TV.
What you want?
Yeah, fun to watch the whole deal. But it's Vancouver versus Inter Miami, and I said it's not even a MLS matchup right now because Vancouver qualified, I believe, by the Canadian Championship, right? And
Canadian
so
Cup,
yeah, the Canadian Cup, and so that's why they're there, and so they're really representing Canada and not Major League Soccer. It's the same thing we always joke about to try to make things not matter. Like it's like, well, I mean, they're not even there for that. Yeah. So
I'm sure by the time most people listen to this, it's done and dusted. But right now, halftime, Vancouver up 1-0. Brian White.
Of course.
Again, I'm a believer in Vancouver this season. I think they really have a solid squad, and they're not to be messed with. So I would love to see them, take out Inter Miami and not keep them just shy of getting that elusive trophy that they're after.
I will say this about Brian White. It's sad that after the season he's going to get sold somewhere outside the league because
he's going to Tigres.
He should 100% stay in MLS. He is a great MLS striker. Yeah. Aaron, by the way, $5 super chat. Maybe we should start Eric's and my Dachshunds. 4 Dachshund midfield, irregardless. I like the length. I'm not so sure about the mobility.
Short legs. It's again, we wouldn't have won any. We would have won just as many games if the Dachshunds were out there. So I don't know. I'm just saying. We have just as many clean sheets as our goalkeeper. So I don't know. There's a lot of parallels that you can make there.
Can we talk about the cat in the room and the reason the LA Galaxy really aren't winning? Would you like to explain why the LA Galaxy aren't winning?
I will explain that. And again, unfortunately, I don't have the cat with me. while I was gone at MLS Cup, while I was away, the family kind of had idle time. And on the day that the Galaxy won, Dad's in a great mood, celebrating, and the family gives me a text and they say, "Hey, I think we're going to get a cat." And I'm like, you know what? The Galaxy just won MLS Cup. You know what? Go get a cat. We have 3 dogs. What's another animal?
Right.
Just throw a litter box in there and go get the cat. And Zeus the cat was his name. Ricky is his middle name. So again, there's the Galaxy connection in there. That's not on any paperwork, but still. So ever since Zeus the cat has been introduced to the Hammer household, the LA Galaxy have not won an MLS game. So I don't know. I don't know if the cat is cursed. If I need to, I know we were talking about sacrificing Cosmo. Maybe I need to do something with the cat.
You need to sacrifice the cat. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how you didn't connect the dots on that. I was like, wait a minute. Why are you trying to dance around that? No, we figured it out. I said to sacrifice a goat.
We'll do a ceremony.
Yeah. Well, maybe you have to put hair on the cat. I don't know. It's like one of those things.
He does have hair, just not a lot of it. Yeah.
Like me. He's basically me. You should have named him Josh. Same effect. New stadium seats curse, Mr. Provino. Good. Can I get some other theories on curses that the LA Galaxy have clearly caused that have led them to 9 winless? Because I think that's more useful than anything else we're going to say right now. Yes.
I'm ready. You ready?
Yes.
9 winless. This is the curse of Dayon. After 9, it clears because he was number 9. So this is the 10th game.
But what if it's 99? What if it's 99?
Because he wasn't wearing 99 when they won MLS Cup.
I'm scared.
So it's going to cut off. And if it goes to 99, then
there's
we
problems.
might be cooked.
Yeah, there's problems. There's problems. But no, it's we'll see how that goes. By the way, this show does not condone hurting any animals. I would like to point that out very clearly. Joking.
These are all jokes just for fun. We'll create a ceremony and no cats will be harmed moving forward here.
Yeah. The new bathroom curse from Field of Berm. Ever since the new bathrooms. You know what it is? The new press box food area curse. That's what it is. That's clear.
That'd be something.
Now that there's nicer food at Dignity Health Sports Park, the Galaxy will never win another game.
Yeah, if you're going to enjoy the food, you're not going to enjoy the games. Come on, you can't have it all.
The only way to solve this, and if the front office is listening and the LA Galaxy, the only way you could possibly solve this is by getting warm chocolate chip cookies and a popcorn machine inside the press box. I think that's the only thing that would solve it.
Seems fair. Yeah.
It makes some sense. There's a pub crawl coming up on May the 4th, right? And this is the one for the LA Galaxy at Sporting Kansas City. So this is in 2nd Street on Long Beach. A bunch of good places: Murphy's Pub, Panama Joe's, Shannon's Bayshore Saloon, Taco Shore, Dogs Bar and Grill. Eventually, all ends up at Legends Restaurant and Sports Bar.
Waiting for Legends to drop there. Yeah,
that's where the official kickoff watch party will be, and that will start at 4 p.m. But you get a punch card. If you finish the punch card for the pub crawl, then you redeem your T-shirt. I just like to say, God bless whoever is setting this up, because this can't be easy. What a fun time.
With punch cards, you're right. A lot of moving parts.
It certainly seems to be. But this seems like this is awesome. Discounted Modelo's available for purchase. I mean, come on. I mean, who's not up for a good Modelo before a game? So watch party is in there. So the Cuatro de Mayo pub crawl all set for you coming up on the 4th of May. And you can watch the LA Galaxy take on Sporting Kansas City as well, because they'll be away after this weekend. So I thought that was a pretty good thing. Yeah.
Dejan Jovelic's Sporting Kansas City. And again, that area of Long Beach, no better place for a pub crawl with Legends right there. And, and all the different, Panama Joe's that's there. That's just, that makes me miss home more, is hearing about those different places there and making that walk. And the weather's always great. So especially that time of year, especially the weather where I'm at is not fantastic. So thinking about being on 2nd Street and kind of by Main and doing all that, it seems like a fun time. So again, I miss Southern California. So if you have the ability to go to the pub crawl in Long Beach, take advantage. You never know when you'll miss out on it.
Let's see. Aaron Levinson. New Papusa location curse. That's right. They moved AFJA over to a new place, and ever
curse
since,
of the Papusas.
Yeah. So we'll certainly watch how all this goes down. But the pub crawl is certainly a highlight there. One of the things that is coming up is at the game, and let's start turning the page a little bit towards this Portland game. LA Galaxy facing off against the Portland Timbers. That's a 6 p.m. Start time and then a 6:10 p.m. kickoff time, even though it says 6 p.m. It's 6:10 p.m. kickoff time for the LA Galaxy on MLS Season Pass this Sunday, April 27th. Now, one of the things that they're going to be doing is having a giveaway, and after the ring giveaway, they wanted to be sure that they did this.
They figured it out, yeah.
And we talked about that this would probably be the likely scenario for the next giveaway and how it works. And so I want to at least tell you there are 5,000 guests will receive a Cosmo bobblehead. Now, what they're going to do for fans who arrive early. Listen, first of all, they are going to open the gates 15 minutes early for season ticket members. That has been reiterated. You will then get a voucher once you make it inside. So you take that voucher and you go over to the tennis courts, and that's where you will redeem this. But the LA Galaxy did have some verbiage here that I want to make sure I get to. It says, match day giveaways are one of the many ways the LA Galaxy show appreciation for the fans, reward those who arrive early. We always aim to distribute giveaways with the fan experience and employee safety in mind. Up to 5,000 fans who arrive early to Sunday's match will have a chance to commemorate Youth Night with a Cosmo bobblehead giveaway. Please be advised that giveaway quantities are limited and will be distributed on a first-come, first-served basis until they run out. 5,000 vouchers can be picked up and traded in for bobbleheads at the giveaway item pickup location in the tennis stadium at Dignity Health Sports Park. Vouchers are valid until 6:30 p.m. on April 27th. We will limit one voucher or one giveaway item per person. So don't show up with 5 tickets and you only have 3 people and expect that you're going to get 5. That's not going to happen. So obviously a reaction to the rings and everything. So they're not going to be giving them away at the gates. You'll get the vouchers at the gates. That still sort of puts up in the general up in the air, and it depends on where they give away the vouchers. Like, does it go down the line a little bit? So that way there's another, because there's still going to be limited vouchers at each gate and how that goes. But again, I'm told that season ticket members should get their 15 minutes and all the things that are in there to do. So
I will say, with it being a voucher, you're much less likely to create a kerfuffle fighting over the voucher than you were if the bobblehead or the ring was actually there. So I do like this system. We talked about it. This is the way it should be, and you kind of live and learn and figure those things out. If it's not a boomstick or a rally towel, it probably shouldn't be given out of the gate. I think having it by the tennis courts, and this really does kind of honor the people who are going to be in the know. This is the people, you are going to have some, but you're not going to have people accidentally walking to a Cosmo bobblehead. You're going to be someone who is going to get there early, someone who's going to know that they're going to get the voucher, have to know where to go to claim it on the tennis court. So it is truly going to be for fans. With that being said, prepare to be disappointed, because with only 5K, that's 20 to 25% of the stadium. So you're still not going to you're going to get a good chunk. The majority, 3/4 of the attendance, is not going to walk away with a Cosmo bobblehead. So be prepared for that. But there is sometimes the purpose of the giveaways is to get people in, get them using concessions. I get that. I get why they're doing it. So make your plan. You kind of saw how it worked out last time with the rings. So be nice. Safety is something that they're emphasizing. So they're going to do the best they can. I think they've learned from their mistakes, and I think this is the way maybe giveaways should be. I mean, if you see success here, I think this is going to make it much more organized, much more likely to hand it out, and you just have a more calm environment. And if people forget about their voucher, then you end up with some extra bobbleheads. Is that the worst thing in the world? No, because then you can look for season ticket members and have those opportunities to kind of make things right with other people. So I think this is the right way to do it. I'm happy to see that they're kind of learning from how things went and then making those adjustments. I feel like they've done it this way in the past for other things, right? This isn't a new system. So it's just a matter of fine tuning and maybe not realizing what they had with the rings and just kind of making sure that they avoid it this time.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's like, well, they should have more. And I understand that. There's budgets to these things. And I know everybody wants to spend the LA Galaxy's money. I see it during transfer time or anything else. The rings that we were talking about said, hey, if you ask fans to pay $30 for those, they probably would. I heard that the cost number on those might have been way higher than that, which is crazy whenever you think about how much money they probably spent on the 10,000
for
rings.
10K.
Yeah.
I had a feeling when you estimated $3 that someone was going to come back and correct you on those, which I'm sure they did.
It may have been in the realm of anywhere between $30 and $60 per, right?
Okay.
Per, which is a gigantic number whenever you start putting that stuff together. So.
To which I'll say, plenty of fans would pay $75 to $100 for those.
I agree with that. Like, if
Yeah.
you're still going to say, I'm just saying that maybe my math was, I had underestimated, which is certainly a possibility.
There used to be the Cosmo Club,
Dude.
where when you purchase, you got your own bobblehead as part of it. So again, there is precedent for being able to purchase this and make it your own thing. So I'm all about Cosmo and tacos and some bobbleheads. So good times.
And then there was also the Cosmo pencil pouch, and people are already going, which kid do I have to rob to get that pencil pouch, right? The whole deal. It was like, calm down. The main stadium gates will open for season ticket members at 4:15 p.m., 15 minutes prior to the general stadium gates opening at 4:30 Pacific time. Our giveaways are for all fans, so we ask anyone planning to attend, including season ticket members, supporters groups, to please plan accordingly. We ask that all fans follow the fan code of conduct. Please note that the LA Galaxy reserves the right to refuse entry and access to giveaway items to anyone who violates the fan code of conduct. So remember, that goes along with don't be the a-hole. You're not supposed to be that. So calm down and chill out. And it's a bobblehead.
You already know how things are going to go, and you've kind of set the table as well with staffing and part-time staff and we all know now, and so let's just go with that mindset going in, and it makes life a lot better.
It should. The other part about that is that, by the way, couldn't have been more on brand, and I know it was on accident, but couldn't have been more on brand if they tried, because your DJ set will be Goldfish. And all I can think of is Lasso saying, be a goldfish, right? The LA Galaxy need to be a goldfish.
There you go. I was wondering where you're going with
You're
it.
like,
Now
what?
I'm right
on
there
brand?
with you. Yeah.
You're like, what is Josh talking about? But be a goldfish. And Sunday Sounds from the Galaxy will be performed by Goldfish before becoming electronic music icons as Goldfish. Dominic Peters and David Pull were students by day and house party legends by night, known for their high-energy live shows, blending house beats with live instruments. Their signature sound infused with African rhythms, sax melodies, and live instruments, and cheeky samples quickly captivated global audiences and turned them into festival favorites. Now based in San Diego, the duo continues to dominate the scene with chart-topping hits and unforgettable performances at major festivals like Coachella, Glastonbury. Sounds of the Galaxy is an immersive and interactive experience at Dignity Health Sports Park featuring live music performances. So there it is, Goldfish coming up. And by the way, little shout out, the Galaxy had, I'm gonna make this critique. The last home game, the Galaxy had Forrester out there. Okay, Forrester. Now I had heard Forrester. Didn't know I knew Forrester.
Okay,
but it was definitely a more mellow vibe, right? Like a little bit more. Forrester's mellow. Like they're kind of chill. My wife and I went on a date night, and I was in the car and I picked the music, so I put on some Forrester, and she's like, "This is like perfect, like cruising date night music." And so I got a lot of props. The LA Galaxy made me,
nice work.
Thank you, Forrester. I appreciate that. A little chill. A little chill probably for before the game, like ramp up, get excited, get pumped, but good for Josh date night. So
you can go too far in the other direction. I think there have been some where maybe the energy is almost over the top, and you're like, okay, relax. We're starting. It's just soccer, Greg. Yeah. So let's calm down just a little bit. So I think that's one of those things where there is that fine balance where you don't want to go too mellow and put the crowd to sleep, but also you can overdo it where it seems like you're almost trying a little bit too hard. There is a sweet spot there.
100%. But Forrester, thank you. LA Galaxy, thank you for making my date night just a little bit better.
Broadening the horizons. Yeah,
sushi with a large Sapporo, and then a nice drive down to the beach, and just taking the sights away from the kid for a while. It was great. I enjoyed it.
I think you just described what people should do after the pub crawl.
That is, sushi.
Nice sushi place in Long Beach with a Sapporo. Yeah, you're speaking my language here.
Sapporo is the beer you want to drink with sushi, and it just works that way, and it's delicious. So anyway, that's where we're at. All right, let's get to the Portland game now. The LA Galaxy.
Do we have to?
Yeah, apparently. Somebody said the curse is, what was it? Oh, I really wanted to read this because I read it and I laughed. But anyway, it was something to the fact of the Galaxy have the next big giveaway. All 27,000 fans get to experience the next Galaxy loss. So I thought that was fun. So that was I think that was John Cena in the chat room. So yeah,
he is the champ now, so he deserves to make those jokes.
100%. LA Galaxy, Portland Timbers, going up against each other, 15, 14, and 10 overall for the two teams. The LA Galaxy holds that 14, 12, and 10 record in the league play, and a 1-2-0 record in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. The last time or games played at Dignity Health Sports Park, 10-4-5 for the LA Galaxy. So a place that they've had a lot of success against. Notably, LA is unbeaten in its last 5 matches played against Portland at Dignity Health Sports Park, 3-0-2 dating back to July 30th, 2021. And so, that's where we sort of sit with the LA Galaxy and Portland. What do you feel like? Is there any? I already said I can't. They have to prove it to me. They have to show me. I'm done. Yeah. I'm done playing you're going to win this game.
And I've kind of played my hand as well that I feel like this is going to get ugly, that the Galaxy might just roll over and die. This is when they didn't play Portland too long ago, and I think that's the thing that concerns me. There's always a couple of these matchups where they play, they get the 2 games out of the way early in the season, and so you don't really get a true measure where you get them at different points of the season where you get kind of a more balanced schedule. You're getting Portland, who, in my opinion, they're going to be out for blood because of the missed penalty call when the Galaxy was at Portland. So I think they're going to come in with that extra chip on their shoulder, a la Austin FC. And so I think you're going to get a team that's going to be playing with some fight. And so that's the thing that concerns me when you look at their lineup. I know they have Felipe Mora, who's been scoring some goals. They had, they took a 3-0 lead against LAFC. They ended up blowing it there towards the end. But when you look at the players that they have, Chara is always someone that's going to scare you. Moreno is another player that's going to scare you. The David da Costas, their Portuguese DP that they've signed, he started, I guess they were waiting for him to kind of figure things out. He leads the team in assists, and the last game that they played against the Galaxy, he looked, really good. I know they're trying to replace Evander. I don't think he's that guy, but he's definitely looking like someone who's going to be an MLS level DP who can contribute. So I'm nervous about this game. I feel like it can go sideways. When you look at the stats, it seems like the Galaxy have the favor at home, for whatever reason, just like when, they play Vancouver and Houston at home, they somehow can't get it done. Portland is one of those teams that whenever they play them at the digs, they seem to be able to kind of get those wins. So they do have that going in their favor regardless of the form. So, but I do think when you look at the roster and how they're, going to be upset about how they were hard done, I'm nervous about the outcome for this game, especially when you're winless in 9, that you can't say, well, they're on a hot streak. They're going to come. They're going to bounce back. This is the moment.
This is the turnaround.
It's going to turn. This is the turnaround. I don't know that they've shown me anything that says this is going to be the turnaround game where they figure it all out. Maybe it's something where Portland doesn't play their best game and the Galaxy are able to capitalize that, but I don't think the Galaxy have shown me anything to say, okay, they've figured something out where they're going to come out and, make us, eat our words. Right now, I don't see that happening.
I'll tell you, I think something that's going to go to the Galaxy's advantage, which is crazy to say, is Zonka's going to be back. I actually think that having Zonka play on the back line sort of settles this formation a little more than maybe Eric Zavaleta did, although Eric Zavaleta did just fine. I had no problems with
Did what he was supposed to do, yeah.
Greg Vanney talked about how the Galaxy probably played a little bit deeper line with Eric just because, he's a little more conservative on that and certainly protecting against any speed or anything like that. So I think Zonka being back does help the Galaxy, despite the fact that I think Zonka has caused a lot of problems for the LA Galaxy.
He's Zonka himself in a few games here, yeah.
100%. But I do think that this settles that. The one thing against Austin that I didn't love, because I liked how the formation set up otherwise, was Eric Zavaleta back there. And I despite all the misgivings and people freaking out about Zonka, I still feel like he's a better fit back there than Zavaleta is. So give me Zonka back there. I'll live with the problems and everything else, but I think the Galaxy are a little more dynamic and a little more settled at defense with Zonka. Yeah. As long as he doesn't make any individual mistakes, I think the Galaxy will be fine. So
well, there's the big elephant in the room right there. As long as he doesn't make any mistakes, I'd like to give my formal apology to Maya Yoshida to saying, hey, Zonka, Yoshida, it's all kind of the same guy. No, it's not. It's not. So my apologies, Maya. So get healthy, get back, because I think he's sorely missed on the defense to be that strong presence back there. I like that you have the confidence in Zonka. To me, Zonka, Zavaleta, I don't see much of a difference there. I think, with the experience, you can go back and lean on those things. But from what I've seen from Zonka in a LA Galaxy jersey, I don't know that I'm excited that, oh man, he's back. That's going to be the thing that gets it together. I don't know. We'll see.
The no update on the LA Galaxy on Yoshida, but we expect that tomorrow that somebody will get an update on that. I imagine that he's still going to be a week, week and a half, 2 weeks still out. They seem to have indicated that it is healing more slowly than they thought, and I don't think it was more serious. Remember, it went from we think we caught it beforehand to we saw the scans, and even Maya was surprised that there was something like
worse than they thought.
that was worse than they thought, but it was still only mildly worse than they thought. Now it's just a matter of Yoshida actually healing. And older, let me guess, I'm going to shock people. Older players, they heal a little slower, right? Look at Marco Reus and everything that he's been going through, trying to get him back. So I would expect that Yoshida's still not available for this weekend, but I actually think it's going to be, and I'm happy to eat my words. It's okay at this point. The Galaxy are winless at 9. I don't feel like I'm going to be too far out in the crazy land to say that I think Sonka will be okay against Portland, but we'll certainly watch and see how that is.
Yeah, and I'll keep beating this drum and being a broken record here is how lucky we were that last season we didn't have tons of injuries, because Maya Yoshida, yes, another year older, but he wasn't 10 years younger last season. He was close in age, and he still was the Iron Man throughout much of the season. So maybe some of those things caught up with him, but
right.
You're really thankful for how well it held out last year.
George goes, well, what's Caceres up to? Obviously a little tongue in cheek, but I'll say this.
Back.
When we had Will on, he actually talked about how in a league that wasn't Major League Soccer, that Caceres would probably still be on the team, right? Like it's one of those. It's like you're going to keep him because of his leadership and everything else that he does, and he'll be able to throw a couple games for you and have sort of the ability to be that guy. And he was super vital to the LA Galaxy's MLS Cup run and was out for the year, right? Like he was one of those guys that you could certainly say was leadership wise in there.
Yeah. I think you could probably find him having some paella at Ricky's house while Ricky heals. I'm sure Martin is hanging out, in the area.
Some mate, some paella, 100%. He's there. I think the interesting player here for me in this game is going to be Royce, and I don't know. We saw a little bit of Royce in the Austin game, and hey, whatever. He's coming back from injury, so I sort of expect what I expect, right? It's one of those. But now you have it. He's had another full week. I sort of want to see how his body has recovered and what his role is in this team in that second half. Is he a 35, 40, 30 minute guy at this point? Are you going to roll? Is he a 45 minute? Is he a guy that you think you can get 60 minutes out of?
Do you start him and get those 60 minutes? Is that the question?
That's my question, because I think that we all agree that the midfield is a spot that the LA Galaxy need help with. Greg Vanny talked about how Marco came into the Austin game and started, controlling a little bit of that space and actually allowing the LA Galaxy to build off that position. What can you do with Diego Fagundez and Marco Reus in the center with an Edwin Cerrillo backing up? That starts to get real offensive, right? In front of the midfield. And when you're looking at a double pivot, usually we have somebody who's able to play a little more defense, but Diego Fagundez maybe will have to play more defense, even though he says he's not any good at it, right? So those are the sort of the things that I want to see the twists and turns of in that second half. Is how does that go? Would I be falling off the chair shocked if the LA Galaxy started Marco Reus? I wouldn't, but I don't know that he's there yet for that.
I don't. Based on everything that we were seeing leading up to it, I think we were surprised that he's back fit and ready to be with the team. So I would be shocked with you if he started the game. I do think you get a late appearance from him on the home turf. How the game is progressing. We'll see how that goes.
The only problem I have with that is that, so you come off the bench with, Parente, and listen, I like Parente. I think he does the best job the LA Galaxy have sort of had in that midfield position and sort of controlling tempo and trying to dish out and break lines with passes. I think, however that has gone, he has been the best example of that. But that's not exactly a game-changing sub. So for me, it's always like bring Marco off the bench. You probably have a better chance of having an impact than doing it and letting Parente do a lot of the dirty work and let Marco Reus play against tired legs. That's usually
let
him
tire
setup.
him out.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the kicker right there.
So I want to see. I really think if the Galaxy are going to break out and start to have some streaks and start to play, that Marco Reus has to start playing more and better. And I think the same with Diego Fagundez in that center spot. I think that he has to sort of be able to figure out how to control the game a little bit from that center spot and start connecting Ramirez and Peck and Paintsil. And if you're guessing in this game, for me, Eric, you have to get goals out of Paintsil and Peck in this game. There's no reason why they shouldn't. I watched that Austin game, and each of them should have at least scored one goal.
And why not Ramirez? Also, Ramirez doesn't seem to be involved as much either. He was their, their all-star of these first 9 games. Not that he was setting the world on fire, but he was the one who the goals were coming from. It sounds silly because you're saying Reus just needs to play better and the Galaxy will play better. It seems oversimplistic, but I'm with you with Paintsil, Peck, and Ramirez. If they just finish some of those chances, the chances are there. They're not finishing the chances. And so I think that's what it comes down to. If they're able to kind of get in there and get in behind, a Portland defense and make things happen, what Peck and Paintsil did all last season, if you can have those moments, then it will open up Ramirez. So it's just a matter of making your opponent kind of second guess themselves. Right now, teams who play the Galaxy don't have to second guess themselves. They have them all figured out. So I think you just need to add that extra element to put away your chances, because then that makes the other team double down. Oversimplistic. Reus, so what we have, they need to score more goals.
Yes.
Reus needs to play better.
Yes.
And then the chances that they have, they need to finish them.
Yeah.
I think
so easy.
We've solved it.
We can give these
Vanny
pregame
out,
tops.
COG in. Yeah. Come on.
100%. Do you have D ratings? I did not pull it up, but I figured.
I do have D ratings. The Galaxy with a 50.4% chance to win.
What?
Portland with a 24.9% chance to win, and then a 24.7% chance for a draw. So the Galaxy, even winless in 9 at home against Portland, is, like I said, it's one of those games where just for whatever reason they have Portland's number at home. Galaxy heavy favorites here. If you're looking for the betting odds, you have the Galaxy plus 101, Portland plus 238, and then the draw plus 278. So Vegas says, go with God, figure it all out on that one. Who knows what's going to happen? The over-under set at 3 goals. Over 3 goals is at plus 100.
Right.
Under 3 goals at minus 120. As weird as it sounds, I feel like the over will hit here. I know they haven't scored tons of goals, but I feel like the way these teams play against each other.
Portland's going to score 7. That's what you're saying. Okay.
I would not be surprised if it went that way.
With of course the Pope's passing and all of the Gabriel Peck to score goals. There's
got to be something, right? Is Gabriel Peck going to be our
Sunday?
New Pope? Maybe he needs to be our new Pope.
He could.
He needs to be in the conversation.
Maybe we'll see the white smoke emanating from the. Is it white smoke that comes out whenever they put? I think it's white.
The black smoke is when the new Pope, right?
Is it the black smoke? I thought it was the white smoke.
It's
white
been a while. You know what? I'm
You know
excited for this new conclave.
Conflict.
We're gonna have a new heated debate. I like it. I like the odds. We're gonna get you D ratings odds on Popes next week.
Gabriel Peck Sunday. Pope passes away. This is it's God's time.
It's lining up. It was last season. Okay. Last season on Sunday, the Lord's Day, Gabriel Peck anytime goal. You could just print money. This season they've had some Sunday games, and that bet has not paid off. So maybe the Pope, being a soccer fan and him kind of that's the vibes that are now being kind of released into the ether. So you're right. Sunday, the Lord's Day,
right.
Gabriel Peck, our new Pope. Let's make it happen.
I
think anytime goal, Gabriel Peck. There it is.
It's white smoke. Thank you. It's white smoke.
Okay.
Black
you see
smoke?
a lot of black smoke because they go through the process, and then eventually, you're right. You're right.
White smoke. Okay.
I'm a bad Catholic. You're right.
I'm a lapsed Catholic. I don't.
I do feel like I'm going to talk to the Galaxy like I talk to my kids in church. Hey, stop it! It's embarrassing. You're embarrassing me right now. We haven't won. Stop it. So again, tighten up, kneel, stand up. Come on, get it together.
All right. Predictions guaranteed to be wrong. You first.
All right. The Lord's Day, Gabriel Peck, anytime goal, Galaxy score a goal, and they lose 4-1. I think they get rolled over. I see an opportunity for them to roll over and die. How can it get worse? And we just watch it all fall apart on Cosmo bobblehead night. Again, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, LA Galaxy.
I was just about to be like, Gabriel Peck, are you being optimistic? What happened? I thought we were talking about this at the beginning. Galaxy score first, draw the game. 1-1. That's again, until they win, I will not pick it. They're not going to get me to pick a win for the rest of the season. I will not do it. How important is this game? The pressure that will be relieved with a win could be enough to really pump something into this LA Galaxy.
It could be what they need. You're right.
Yeah. So, that's why it's important. That's why these things continue being important. The pressure that's mounting because they haven't won just heaps on, and you saw the frustration boiling over at the end of the Austin game. So that's the whole thing. Darren, hard to be optimistic at this point. I mean, again, Josh's roulette theory, which has yet to be even scientifically proven exists, says that the LA Galaxy should win this game. That the chances are just going up.
And that's what it is. 34 games. You're going to run into one team who has a bad game.
Right.
Portland's going to have an off night. Houston's going to have an off night. You're going to run into one of these teams where they have an off night and you're able to capitalize. It's just they haven't had that luck yet.
LA Galaxy and the Cosmo bobbleheads going away on the Sunday game. So make sure you're there early. Again, I saw so many people being like, I got there at 5:45 and they were all out. Bro, there have been people lined up since 4 o'clock. Like, why are you complaining?
I think some people are listening to the show right now in the Northeast Gate. Yeah. So
very well could.
Get there now.
Yeah.
Game's on Sunday.
Yeah.
Get it together.
Yeah. By the way, for the LA Galaxy, under promise, over deliver at this point, right? We'll show up. That's all we can give you right now. We're going to show up. What happens from there, I don't know. The whole
it's up to you.
So bobbleheads.
It is what you make it. Yeah.
Bobbleheads, a good weekend. Possibly a little rain on Saturday, but Sunday looks good and should be a lot of fun. A good Sunday, like 6 p.m. is not a horrible one. It's youth and sports night, so I'm excited about that. Apparently, I've heard. Watch the post-game press conference. We're supposed to have a young journalist possibly come in and ask a question.
Ooh,
yeah,
I know.
That. I'm excited about that.
I'll say this: youth and sports on a school night. Come on. We can schedule. It's early.
Summertime.
It's
almost
early.
summertime.
Yeah, fair enough.
What do you want?
Yeah, no one
the
cares.
kids checked out.
Testing's
already.
done. Everyone's done. Yeah. I'm not listening. You're not listening.
No.
Just be cool.
No,
Play it cool.
No, my kid is like already like, is it summertime yet? I'm like, you go to school in the summer too. I don't understand why. Yeah, but it's camp. It's camp school.
Feels different.
Yeah,
Feels
I'm like,
different.
okay, 100%. LA Galaxy taking on the Portland Timbers coming up at 6 p.m. 6:10 p.m. is your kickoff time on MLS Season Pass this Sunday, April 27th. That is the game that you were waiting for this week. Eric, anything else? You good?
I just want to give a shout out to James Whitlock of the King's Realm podcast. Came to check out the Galaxy a couple weeks ago. He even joined the COG halftime circle.
I love me some James. That's one giant dude, by the way.
Yeah, you got to love him. He's always my road dog. If you want to catch a game, drink a scotch, there's, I'll leave the third things to myself, because we're a family show. But, if you want unfiltered LA Kings hockey talk, because they're in the middle of a playoff run right now, check out the King's Realm podcast. Got Dennis over there, Jordan over there, and of course James doing their thing. So maybe the AEG magic is all being used up by the Kings right now.
That's what it was.
They've got harmonicas happening for their national anthem. Maybe we need the harmonicas that the Kings were using. Get them to do the national. We need some type of magic to make it work, because it's working for the Kings, and the Galaxy are getting none of that love. But shout out to James, shout out to the King's Realm, and the Kings making their little run right now.
In my opinion, only two acceptable LA Galaxy anthems. The Ocean Airs, which were like the old guy choir who shows up every once in a while. Love them, 100%. And then mariachi all day, all long. You can't miss, 100%. So that was where we're at. All right, Eric, why don't you tell people where they can find you, and we'll get on out of here. Let's go.
All right, as always, you can find me on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads at HammerEV9. That's HammerEV and the number 9.
Looking for me on all social media at Galaxy Podcast. Head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com, and then please subscribe on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, any of those Apple, iTunes, any of the places that you find our podcast. You can find it. Subscribe, do all those fun things, and then, of course, we'll be back on Monday to tell you what happened on Sunday, in case you decided to watch the whole game with your eyes closed and your ears plugged. All right, for Mr. Eric, the Portuguese Hammer Beer, I'm Josh Pato Guesman. You've been listening to our little Corner of the Galaxy. Have a great one, everybody.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast. And be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. Fans, we thank you for listening. We ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.